At first glance, Celeste looks like your run-of-the-mill 2D retro-style platformer. It uses a pixelated 16-bit art style, a fitting soundtrack to accompany it, and extremely tight and responsive controls. But as you play through, you realize it has a level of depth and nuance not normally seen in the genre. Along with all the great things it borrows from the old, it also takes notes from more recent generations with an emotional, engaging story packed to the brim with morals to take away. You accompany its troubled protagonist Madeline up the Celeste mountain on a journey that you are not inclined to forget. While Celeste may not have had the kind of budget to aid the story along compared to its AAA peers, it still managed to move me in ways a video game rarely does. Its enticing storyline, gorgeous art style, and difficult yet addicting gameplay makes Celeste one of this year's very best games. Retro-style games have made a huge comeback in the past 10 years. What was once an anomaly in the industry is now a common occurrence, and Celeste is no exception. It employs a 16-bit art style, but uses a color palette that those classic games could not produce. It's a smoother, lighter tone set that almost reminds me of a Rainbow Sherbet. Initially, I didn't think much of it, but for a very hard game, it evokes a very useful, lighthearted emotional response to rest back on when advancing to the next area seems impossible. In retrospect, this made it much easier to push through some of the more difficult areas that I may have given up on much sooner otherwise. After completing each stage, Celeste also showcases another cutscene art style that is by far my favorite. It mostly consists of still shots with a few variations that last no more than a few seconds, but because they come after completing a stage and are so gorgeous, they are hard to forget and just as integral as any other part of the game. The gameplay of Celeste is simple, tough as nails, and will take a patient and dedicated player to get through it. It takes the phrase easy to learn yet hard to master to an entirely new level. The main mechanic is a dash, a very fun but overglorified double jump that becomes the necessary tool to conquer each stage. The gameplay is super hard while still being fair, which is the hallmark of any great hard game. There was no point throughout my entire playthrough that I couldn't blame myself for my failures. Most of the levels are designed extremely well, forcing the player to plan out each move in advance in order to succeed. This is especially apparent when collecting the berries. They are placed in the hard to get sections of the level with only one very hard to spot course to take. This almost transforms Celeste into a puzzle platformer, but too many of the other areas can be beaten in multiple ways for it to really be considered one. There's also a few other collectible items that allow access upon completion to the B and C sides. These are harder versions of the levels already completed, which give anybody who enjoyed the gameplay another challenge and a reason to go back again. The berries themselves are strictly for collecting's sake and do not unlock anything, but they do play into what is the best story I may have ever come across in a 2D platformer. Celeste starts out with a girl named Madeline at the bottom of a mountain. No prior knowledge, no backstory, just a girl venturing out on a therapeutic hike. What unfolds is a powerful, coming-of-age story that most people could probably relate to. What you thought was a therapeutic hike for a pixelated character becomes a therapeutic hike for the player, as adult-like themes are brought up and discussed in depth. They're not only the kind of issues I wouldn't expect in a text-based side-scroller, but the kind of issues I would have never expected to work so well. The struggle Madeline goes through is one that many people go through on some level and truly helps convey a worthwhile point that I will not forget anytime soon. Towards the beginning it was a bit vague as the characters were introduced with no reference point, but as it went on and things became clearer, I stopped playing the game to get through a very fun and challenging level and started playing it just to get to the next dialogue box. I am truly in awe of this story, not for a 2D side-scroller, but for any game. The creativity of the two-man dev team Matt Makes Games cannot be understated. Conveying an engaging, incredible story simply through text boxes and a few audio cues is the biggest accomplishment of Celeste. I thought I was jumping into a fast twitch platformer a la the Meat Boy or Ori. What I got was that, plus so much more. And that's not even mentioning the mechanical masterpiece it is. Everything Celeste sets out to do, it nails on the head, and I couldn't recommend it enough. Oh yeah, she's a beast. But enough about me. What do you guys think of the game? You can let us know in the comments section below, and Gaming Instincts TV will be leaving you right here. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date and know when a new video is ready for your viewing pleasure. Also, check out our official website at gaminginstincts.com for the latest daily news, feature articles, reviews, and much more. Alrighty, later guys.